Hey everybody, let me show you something cool. So right now I'm playing with something called AirPSX. It is a GitHub project that came out just a little bit ago, and it allows you to remote in to your PlayStation 5 and perform a bunch of different operations and tasks. So let's go ahead and let's see what you can do with that. So, just to give a bit more context here, switching over to the PlayStation 5, I have a 4.03 system that is running the Homebrew launcher, and I have basically launched the AirPSX ELF. Now, I'll show you exactly how to do that, but just know right now in the background, this application is currently running. Now, back over on my desktop, I now have a ton of different features, including being able to launch games and a few other things. So let's just go ahead and take a complete tour around the interface. Now, the first thing that you will note is that this does use your PS5's IP address, and the port this is running on once you launch it is 1214. So let's just start from the top here. So if we go over to File Manager, there's a few operations that you can do. So I'll just go into the data folder because that's where we store a lot of our homebrew applications. And so, for example, I could take this log file right here and I could right click it and I could download it. And there it is right there. And then once that's downloaded, obviously I could open that up on my computer. Now, there are a couple of options here that you can't do. So things like renaming and deleting, that's not possible right now. Now, there is functionality here that says it can create a folder, but I believe that's just kind of left in and doesn't actually do anything at the moment. The next thing that's really cool is there is a scheduler. So with the scheduler, you can create a task, and I already have one that I recently created. It sends a notification with this text right here. Now, there's a couple of buttons over here. The first one is try. And so I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my PlayStation 5. We're going to hit the try button here. And there it goes. Hello from Michael's YouTube channel. Back over to the desktop here. If you make modifications, you can save it. You can also click right over here for the logs. And there it shows when it was started. And down at the bottom, you can actually change the frequency. So right now the frequency is set to 1 hour. Looks like you've got several options that you can choose in there. And so yeah, you can even toggle whether or not you want to save logs with this or not. So very cool that this functionality exists. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one here, and that one is going to be the process list. So this has the process ID, the name, the memory uptime, and then a bunch of other things. And we can see down here, there's that AirPSX.elf file that we are currently running right now. And so there is also this one, which just takes you over to their GitHub where this project is currently being maintained. Now, the next one here is just the script editor. So, for example, I could switch again back over here to my PlayStation 5, and there is that hello world message. So, just a quick way to kind of run some scripts. We then have a system information which goes through the model name, the serial number, what is the architecture, the operating system, 4.03, which is the SDK. That's the PlayStation 5 version that I'm currently running. Then we have a spoofed PS4 SDK. So this runs all of our latest PS4 games, our kernel version, and then a little bit of system uptime, which it shows it's been running for about 40 minutes. And then we have stats. And so if we go to the stats here, we can see the system idle averages as well as the gaming averages. And so there is some information that could be helpful if you're looking to track that kind of thing. And then we go over to applications. So this is where I started this video, and this just lists the applications that is on the PlayStation 5. Now, one thing to note is that sure, you can find a title here, you can click on it, and you can run the application, but it does absolutely break the connection that you currently have with AirPSX. So again, if you do run this application, it is broken, your connection to AirPSX. So be careful when you do that. But yes, you can launch things like Homebrew through this, and the very latest release over here added ETA hen support, and it also supports PS4 games. And right over here, I am running that latest release, and here is a PS4 game. I'm not going to run anything because, again, I don't want to exit out of this running process. Next up, we've got profiles, and I haven't played around with this, but if I just click on my profile here, that is my avatar that I'm using on that PlayStation, but there is an option here to back up saved files. And so up here at the top, you can see there is a tar file, and this is supposed to be a PS5 save backup. So I'm going to experiment a little bit more with that, but do keep in mind that there is some pretty neat functionality that this thing comes with right out of the box. And then the other few things is the storage. So it shows the user storage. And then right here, I do have a USB drive attached right now to my PlayStation 5, and it shows that right here. It looks like there is going to be a package installer that's going to be added into this, as well as there is a system status, which, again, just shows you right now that the Homebrew launcher is currently being ran, and then a bit of information here about the system status. Finally, there is a option that you can toggle between the dark mode and the light mode, but I found that a lot of the text does not work properly with the light mode, so you definitely want to stay with the dark mode. Okay, so you may be asking, how do we get up and running with this? And it's very, very simple. Let me show you. Okay, so the very first thing that you will need is John Tornblom's Homebrew Loader, and I would just go to the URL linked in the description below, and then download this PKG right here. The other thing that you will need is going to be the AirPSX ELF, and you can get that by coming over here to Releases, going over to Assets, and then downloading this AirPSX.elf. Go ahead and copy those to a USB drive and then insert that in your PlayStation 5. Okay, so I'm going to assume you already know how to get jailbroken, but once you get jailbroken, just one quick reminder, make sure that you do launch John Tornblom's web server payload because that will be needed. So also go ahead and install the PKG that was on the USB drive that we just copied over, and you should now have access to something called Homebrew Launcher. We're going to go ahead and hit play on that, and from here you can scroll all the way over and go to add more, and then you can just select your mount and then USB 0 here, and then you would want to go ahead and select that AirPSX.elf. Now, once you do that at least one time, it will go ahead and it will show up as you can see right here. Now, obviously, you would want to copy that to your /data folder so you won't need a USB drive next time. But once you do so, all you really need to do is just press X on this and give it just a moment or two to spin up, and it will just say listening now at that port 1214. So then jump over to your desktop and then go to your PS5's IP address, :1214, as shown earlier, and you can do the same exact thing that I've been enjoying on my PlayStation 5. Anyways, thanks so very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Michael out.